So how do we appeal for this form? Well, the form itself provided by Medicare, and that's the form that you should be using. Like, you shouldn't make your own version of this form, just use the one that they give you, has in there the process to appeal. The only thing your agency needs to do to this form as like a change to the actual template of the form, I don't mean like putting the patient's name in there and making it applicable to a specific patient, but just like changing the actual template of the form, is you need to add the place where the agency needs to appeal. And this is going to be a specific quality improvement organization that is kind of designated for your area. And so these are organizations that are contracted by Medicare to do a few things, including like ADRing your charts and reviewing your charts and things like that. And so the patient needs to appeal to this quality improvement organization. In California, I believe this is Levanta, but you can double check, and we'll also take a look and try to list out who's who for what. But pretty much, the patient needs to call this quality improvement organization the day after receiving the NOMNC. At that point, they will review the medical record and they will determine if the patient is or is not appropriate to receive further services. This is a very good process because when you get ADRs, this is the organization that will probably be doing ADRs and reviewing your ADRs. It's definitely one of the companies or one of the organizations that could ADR your company. And so having them make a determination based on your medical records is really nice because it takes, first of all, it takes you out of the authoritative role to the patient. Like, if the patient really wants to continue services and you are concerned that they're no longer eligible, it kind of takes you out of the middle of that judgment and lets the people who will be ultimately like trying to recoup money from you decide what's what. And pretty much if they can then make a ruling or decision, you're not the bad guy that's like taking away services anymore. And that's a cool process. Now, the services themselves, since the patient would be doing this appeal still within the services, if you have to provide this form at least 2 days before the services end, and the patient has to appeal the next day after that, that leaves at least 1 day of service remaining. So what do you do with this? What if the organization says, the QIO says, no, the services are appropriate and you need to continue? Well, the rule says you can continue to provide the services while the determination is being processed. However, if the QIO determines that the services are not necessary, at that point, the patient is responsible for covering the cost of the service.